So the wind's gonna be a little bit noisy here, but so up there you kind of see that high bank. That's where Tongue River Road is, and that's where Dry Creek comes on our property. It comes a culvert underneath the road, and so I don't know if you can see this entire flat down here. It's all water. So the main channel, you kind of see where it's flowing fast, is right there in front of me. That channel is pretty deep, and it's not very wide. It's probably, I don't know, a horse could jump it about anywhere. And so right now you can see that it's definitely not staying within its banks. And this here is where it goes into the neighbors. But this entire bottom area is all just water at this point. Pretty crazy. Once again, the main channel, probably 3-4 feet wide. You can see it, it's faster moving water down there in the middle. You can see where the weeds and stuff are too. But today it doesn't really care where the bank is. This is where it's going to be today. Pretty wild to see. So this is Dry Creek that runs through our property here. In fact, we have the mouth where it comes out in the tongue, and Dry Creek is typically, as the name implies, a dry creek. As you can see, it's not so dry today. So it's amazing when you go from, you know, a week ago it was 30 some below that morning, and now we're in the high 40s. The ground is all froze, and the big thaw has begun. So here on this flat, the creek can't even contain all the water, and so it comes across the flat, and just this whole little patch here almost has water in it. So that thing is running almost a full culvert. It's actually come up a little bit since I looked earlier. This is where the culvert is. You can see it's not that far from coming across this little road. You know, I sure hope that doesn't happen. That could, you know, wash this whole thing out. So I have to keep watching this, but there's really not much I can do about it. But once again, this entire flat is just running water. That water just keeps looking for that next best place to go. So there's not much of a creek over there in Mugley's, and so it just comes across the entire thing. So you can see this is what the creek's looking like right here. So this little side channel, it like I said, it doesn't hardly ever flow. When I first looked at this pasture, I noticed it had all these little fall-offs here, you know, where you can tell water flowed at one time. It's not too often water will run like this, but usually when you get a thaw type situation, or sometimes a big rain at the right time of the year, you know, this is what it looks like. So we'll come to the point here. So once again, that is quite a bit of water for this little dry creek. Just kind of take a look around, see that entire flat, that was water. So we'll just take a quick walk around here. It hadn't been that deep, but I think it's running a little more water now, so. Yeah, she's up on the muck boots a little bit. Way deeper than it was earlier. We'll try to get, and so part of it probably was implied, but the ground is entirely froze up. None of this stuff is soaking in at all. It's just running across the ground and trying to find the next low spot to go to. But once again, pretty wild how this entire flat here is just full of water. So, in fact, it's a little bit slick even under my feet, you know, where that ground still froze. Never know when you're gonna step across the stick or something. There's actually a little bit of current. Don't want to raise my feet too high here, so looking back some uglies. Once again, you can see my waterfalls where the water is just coming from everywhere. It's not just a little bit of this flat. Like I said, the creek itself is pretty narrow. I mean, just a little bit of water runs. It probably runs within a, I don't know, 4-foot wide channel or so further up there. It's not a huge drainage area where this comes from either, but it's all gumbo country, but in this case it's froze too. And we did have, I don't know, we probably had 8 inches of snow too. So when it comes out all at once, this wasn't even running at all yesterday. It has still stayed cool enough that it hadn't started coming yet. And so it's running quite a bit of water. So we'll just take a quick look what it looks like here at the river as we go on. We'll see if my fence holds up there. I have a fence post that kind of is on the edge where the channel usually is. If the ground thaws out, we'll see if it pulls out of the ground or not. So once again, creek over here. Not so much creek, but lots of water here. So we'll just kind of keep going. Stuff this part of the flat. We haven't owned this place too long. I've never seen the water come this far out. I noticed these spots where the water falls off and thought it must have happened at times, but it's sure coming all the way today. And then some of it from the flat is coming all the way, draining off that little spot, go down by that tree, anywhere, everywhere. So here's something that is kind of interesting. Let me get down close to the river and I'll explain it to you. Good thing my muck boots don't leak. Alright, let me go through the fence here real quick. Alright, if you take a look, in fact I'll zoom in on it. Right there. Everybody know what that is? That, people, is a snowman. So actually just yesterday, my kids were out, I think yesterday, no it was on, Saturday I guess it was. Saturday they were out on the ice because there was probably a good 10-12 inches of ice and they built a snowman. Now of course at that time there was no water at all. So that snowman's still hanging on. The ice is still there. There's water underneath it. So we'd come out here 2-3 hours ago to come look at things. And we came out, anything that was upstream, the direction I'm looking, everything that was upstream of Dry Creek was entirely ice. And then when you look downstream, all this water is coming out the Dry Creek here, just coming on top of the ice. And so it's starting to be wet further down. So my guess, in fact, you see some of the ice breaking now, it wasn't earlier. So my guess is, of course, everything upstream, you get all these different creeks that come and start draining all this country, is that they started dumping water on top of the ice. But as you can tell, it's easy to tell because of the snowman right there in front of us. The ice is still there, but I would guess that it won't be too much. I'm guessing we're going to lose all of our ice probably this week. So anyway, running water like this has always intrigued me. I guess that's one thing. You grow up in a very dry area, you're not used to seeing it all. So when something is flowing like this, it's kind of cool to see and kind of interesting to document. So that's all I have for you today. So thanks for watching.